didn't expect it to come this soon.
I was numb as it processed.
It was a moment for me which was surreal because it's something that I've always aspired for.
But it's here, and I'm proud to be part of the list.
Good evening to you and welcome to Real Talk right here on SABC 3. I'm Azania Mosaka. The 2018 Forbes Africa Under 30 list is out, inspired by the growing number of young men and women entrepreneurs. They've described it as their most authentic and definitive list of Africa's most promising young change makers, expanding it to bring us 30 head-turning game changers, all under the age of 30, in the three sectors of business, technology, and creative. My first guest, has the privilege of compiling the Forbes Africa Under 30 list alongside a selection panelist. Let's welcome her. It's journalist and editor of the Forbes Africa Under 30 list and a game changer herself. That's Ancila Mangena. Hello, Ancila.
Hello. That introduction, game changer.
Are you
herself.
proud? You must be so proud.
So proud, just like watching the video and listening to you talk about my kids, which is what I call them. I'm like, yay, I found all of them. It's
You're
so
young yourself, talk about my kids. I must say, I spent the weekend with this publication reading up all these phenomenal stories that you unearthed. But let's start with your own journey. You're a change maker yourself. So how did this journey of becoming a journalist, someone who's passionate about telling African stories, start?
You know, it's sort of a bittersweet story. I was born on September 11. So when I was in grade 7, 9/11 happened. We all know what happened. It was the biggest disaster. I remember getting home thinking that I might have a gift from my mom, but everyone was watching the television. That's what was going on the whole night.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is interesting. So I was doing the same thing, watching television. I remember taking a bottle of Coca-Cola and pretending Ancila Mangena, reporting from Washington, D.C. That's how it started. Then from that moment, I knew that I wanted to tell game-changing stories. I want to unearth, life-changing stories and inspire people through my writing.
Yeah, and you've done so well because you've had several journalistic accolades, 8 to be precise. You're also associated with the UN as an ambassador. So you yourself are a game changer.
Thank you.
Wow. So inspire us. How did you get into that? How did all of these opportunities come your way?
So just to fast forward from my primary school and finding myself, I came to UJ to study journalism.
Yeah.
And a few days after graduation, a former classmate of mine told me that he had a job opportunity at Caxton Community Newspapers. So he said, they're also looking for somebody, and I suggested you. I was like, oh, wow. I was thinking that I'm going to go ahead and do my master's, but, well, I might as well just do it.
Life had its own plans for you.
Life had its own plans. I thought that I'm going to do my master's, go to Iraq, tell war stories, because remember the inspiration was 9/11.
Right.
And then while I was still working at a community newspaper, Northcliffe Melville Times, the founding editor of Forbes Africa read one of my stories. Listen, I was writing about potholes, writing about schools, whatever community newspapers write about. So I was doing that, and I was putting my heart and my energy and my soul and everything in it. And the founding editor saw my stories, and he called me in and said, come, let's have a coffee, let's have a chat, let me see what you're all about. And when we did, he liked me and offered me a job.
I think there's such a beautiful lesson in that, because no matter what you're doing, if you do it with heart, if you do it with passion, with excellence, that will show and people will notice.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I find that a lot of the times, even now that I'm at Forbes and I've got the opportunity to speak to the biggest billionaires of Africa and of the world and under 30s, people are always writing to me. So how do I do it? I don't have funding. I don't have this. How do I start a business? How do you find those people? And I always say the most important thing is start where you are. I was given a community newspaper to write about high school basketball, to write about potholes. I did it with the passion, with my energy, with the smile every single day. An opportunity just found me. So you have to be prepared.
One of the people that you interviewed said opportunities come to those who are most prepared.
Yes.
I hung on to that. Emmanuel, I think from Nigeria, said that, talking about the success along the way that he's had. And I thought, exactly, opportunity finds those who are most prepared.
You have to, and start where you are. if you don't have money to start a business, think about where you can start. I mean, I sold clothes from the boot of my car. That's how I started my businesses. So start where you are. If you've got R1, go buy 1 egg and sell it for R2. Now you've made an extra R1. That's how you start.
Yeah, one of your kids, as you described them, even talks about renting out a friend's BMW
Imagine,
as a way of
Yannick
getting
from
started.
DRC.
Exactly. His own story is phenomenal. From a family of 24, he overcame incredible odds. But you talk about interviewing billionaires and some of Africa's wealthiest people. But this time, of course, the focus is different. What was your intention with this list?
We call those young people the billionaires of tomorrow. So I've got the opportunity to raise my hand every time when we see them being the Bill Gates and Patrice Motsepe's, and like, I found him in my kid, one of mine. So these are young people that we look for, that we have faith in. I mean, they'll tell you the process is insane. I need to see the bank statements. I need to see your financials. I need to see that you're registered and you're being tax compliant. I need to see all of those documents, especially for the tech and the business side. I need to see all of those things to see that you actually embody what the Forbes brand represent. We represent go-getters, people who are strong, people who have a story to tell, people who know that they're going to be the leaders of today, of tomorrow, and we're going to talk about them for years and years and years.
But how did they first get into your radar? How do you first find them wherever they are? Because this is across the continent.
Yeah, so I must say that I thank the African public for helping me with this, because we have a nomination process where we ask people to nominate people who they think deserve to be part of the under 30 list. And then once we have nominations, then we go through that. But I do my own research. I call them my babies because I spend 9 months doing that. That's like how long a parent carries a child for. So I spend 9 months just looking for new people, reading stories, watching shows like yours, reading the Million Guardian list, reading as much as I can from across the continent. And you know, we whittle it down as we go along until we find the best people.
And you started with 600 nominations. 600. Where you had to go. So wait, if you have 600, there has to be a process of saying yes, no, we will dig deeper into this bunch and not that lot. So what was that initial criteria?
So the panel of judges comes later on. So this is ancillary. Day and night at work, working 20 hours, reading all the emails, finding out who the people are, doing the research on them, and trying to, because once I have a sort of good list, say 100 or so, then I can present that to the judges. So I have to do all of that work first, and then the people who I think are the strongest candidates. I think we had about 348 this year who I thought were great. So from those 348, I started asking for certain things. And one thing that I found out was that there's so many people, our Instagram entrepreneurs and Instagram celebrities. The moment you say, let me see the bank balance, let me see those numbers, then they go quiet. Oh no. So, once I see that, and they're like, oh, so you're one of those. So once I had the 348, asked for all the documentation, probably only half of those people sent me the required stuff. And then we start looking deeply through the numbers. How are you spending? Where are your profits going? With some people, we've got one case where they were making massive profit, but then the problem is that they were paying their staff so little, and it didn't make sense. We're like, are you running a sweatshop or what's going on? So like, you don't embody what the Forbes brand is about, because you can't be making all of this money, yet your employees are not, getting enough money.
So we can clearly have confidence that what we're reading in there about making US dollars, X million US dollars, that
I saw it.
There's evidence of it. But did they have to be relatable? Because I mentioned Yannick again because he's from a huge family, had to walk kilometers to get to school. And just those early days of starting his business, did they have to be relatable to the masses, especially when you look at the socioeconomic conditions on the continent?
I think when you look at all the 90, each and every one of them has something that's similar to somebody. So they're very relatable because they're young. I mean, they are all under 30. They have done every single thing. While some of them were in school, while they were starting businesses.
Their paths were all different.
Their paths were all different, but then they tell the stories of each and every one of us across the continent. So that's how much I have faith in them. I know that, listen, if they can do it, it means that you can do it.
Okay.
So anybody can do it.
Absolutely. We're in the middle of Youth Month. So what does this do? What does this kind of accolade do to someone's credibility moving forward? What's the value in getting a nod such as this?
Because we are a reputable brand and our list is authentic and we spend hours and hours and hours vetting those people. We know that businesses out there value the list. I mean, there's lots of Emmanuel from last year. I remember he was telling me that, you know, I was knocking on doors all the time and everyone was saying, no, we're not interested. When I came back and I said, oh, so I was enforced, like, oh, come in. And then he's like, some of the people in government were even coming to my door saying, sir, how can we work together? So because the public knows how much work goes into it, the public trusts the brand, they know that they can trust the people that we put on the list. And then I always want to mention this, just because somebody's on the list, it doesn't mean that they're making billions of rands, because some of them are like, oh, Angela, now everyone is asking me for money. What am I going to do? I'm still trying to make profit. Sure. So it's like, we're saying those are the billionaires of tomorrow. Some of them you might find that they're making only about R1 million a year, but then that's enough because we know that in the next 2 or 3 years, they'll be making more.
Absolutely. So you found the game changers, but being on the list changes the game for them.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ancilla.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, coming up next after the break, let me tell you, he is one of the youngest game changers recognized within the technology list in this year's Forbes Under 30. Rivoningo Mhlari is on the couch after this. The Limpopo-born Rivoningo Mhlari, or Ribo, if you are that tight with the 23-year-old master of perseverance that was rejected 11 times by various manufacturers and insurance companies to create his first information management systems company. He's the co-founder and CEO of one of the leading global authorities on vehicle information management systems. Well, Rivoningo is here to take us through the business climb over the years. How are you doing, Ribo?
I'm all right, thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good. At the start, you said that you didn't expect it to come this soon.
I didn't.
So it took you by surprise. Where were you when you heard the news?
I was going to gym, actually. And I looked through my emails before putting stuff away in the locker. And I was like, I just saw congratulations. Like, okay, this is it.
Were you aware that someone had nominated you?
Well, someone did tell me that they were going to nominate me. But, you know, people always say things, but it looks like this person followed through for me, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I want to take you back to something that you said in your story. You said, I realized we were rejected not because of what we were doing and that it wasn't novel or attractive. We were rejected because they thought what Ricotech wanted to do was impossible. We were simply ahead of our time.
100%.
Take me back to that period. What was going on?
So when I started Ricotech in 2013, when I came up with the idea, before looping in my partner, Jesse Matheri, it was more of how are we going to make this possible, you know? It's not done before. We did a novelty search, came back positive, but, you know, we just South African kids. At the time, we were in our first year in University of Cape Town. Yeah. And first of all, I was actually studying finance and accounting, so it's got nothing to do with what I'm doing today. So I was like, how are we going to do this? And Jesse's like to me, dude, let's just research and let's just go for it. But the one thing, the reason I said that they thought it was impossible was because I think it's a South African issue or an African issue is that we believe things that we see, right? So we don't believe in dreams, we don't believe in concepts until it's really tangible. Right. So for us, our journey was always trying to prove a dream or trying to make a dream tangible, right? Trying to have that proof of concept. So the moment we had that proof of concept, it was more like, okay, great, we can see it works, but will it work on 1 million cars? Yeah. Right? So there's always obstacles to say it can work on 100 cars, can work in 10 cars, but what about 1 million cars, right? So that was the rejection, but it was actually motivating us because for every single rejection, it's like inherent in us that we had to prove it. We had to prove that we can do it, not just for the people, but for ourselves, right?
Yeah. So did you ever doubt, though, especially when people were saying, no, it's impossible, it's not going to work, maybe because also we haven't seen it in other markets. Yeah. Did you ever doubt that you were on the wrong path?
No. I actually never ever doubted. But I think the reason we didn't doubt is because we were studying simultaneously. So you always had that safety net, right? That you know that if all else fails, I'm going to become a chartered accountant, right? Yeah. And that was the path that we're going to. But I never doubted, and that's what kept us going, right? Because you had to balance school, and over and above that, after school, you had to do this, right? You had to prove it to yourself. But I think I remember the first prototype test we did. we plugged in this, it was big, it was this big at the time.
Yeah.
We plugged in the device into a car and we pulled the plug and we waited. It took 52 seconds, but I promise you, those were the longest 52 seconds of my life because we just waited, is it gonna work? And 52 seconds later, it told us exactly what was wrong with the vehicle, what sensor it was, and the nearest help option.
Oh, wow.
Around
It did
Cape
as you
Town
expected.
roundabout. Exactly what we had expected.
Oh, it must have been an explosive celebration.
No, it was. But then the second prototype test, I brought my mentor, Rod Hempel, and I said, Rod, you need to see this. I promise you it's gonna work. It didn't work.
It seemed like you were smoking something.
100%.
Or it was
So
a
it
dream.
never- yeah.
So a lot of people tend to take failure as a way of saying, no, this is impossible. But clearly you have a different approach to failure, and it's an opportunity to learn and get better at the mistakes that you made.
100%. So for me, failure is the biggest motivator, personally. And the reason I say it's the biggest motivator, because when you fail, you're at your lowest point, right? And when you're at your lowest point, there's nothing else that can demotivate you at that point. So when you do things, always go back to that point, right? I always go back to that point where I failed and I was like, I never ever want to feel like this ever again.
Right.
So that's why you give like more than 100% in every single effort that you put into things, right? Because you never want to have that feeling ever again. So that feeling actually motivates you. You don't see it at that moment, but then when you pick yourself up and you keep going, that's how you actually realize that had I not been at that lowest point, I don't think I'd be at this highest point right now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So being one of the youngest on this list, you're 23. I saw there's a 20-year-old from Kenya, Leroy. Did people ever doubt your capabilities because of your age?
I think people still doubt my capabilities.
How do you overcome that then?
Actually, I know because I've done it, I've overcome it, right? It's
Because doing is a great confidence booster.
100%. So I think for me, it's more of, one, the industry I'm in is full of really, I wouldn't say old people, but experienced people, for lack of a better
Good
word.
choice.
And Jess and myself always find ourselves as the youngest in the room. Our business associates are always above 40 to a certain extent, some of them. But how we overcome that and how I overcome this, first of all, the way I dress on that day is my confidence, right? So I like to dress well. So when I go to meetings, I'm always suited up. Because for me, this is not a meeting, but it's you, right? It's your show. So I had to suit up. So the reason, when I'm suited up, when I'm dressed in a certain way, I know that I'm on top of the world at that very moment. I know that, first of all, I don't even have a beard, right? So the moment I enter that room, someone is judging me.
Yes. They've drawn conclusions.
They already look, they're trying to see what accolades I have because, first of all, I don't have the experience as they would deem. What am I doing in this? And even worse, I'm black. And it's a reality. So when I'm dressed in a suit, first of all, it says this guy knows what he's talking about. But over and above that, I always say, I need to be the smartest person in the room.
In the room, sure.
So every single point that I take out has to be better than every other point that's out there, right? So that comes with one, pre-meeting preparations. It's key. Know who you're talking to. What have they achieved? What are they trying to achieve? And what value are you adding to that person? Because that's when they're going to start taking you seriously. That's when they're going to look, beyond all those barriers, right? To say, actually, yes, he might be young. Yes, he's black, but this is what we're going for because there is no one else who can service us better than them.
Right. And let that speak for itself.
100%.
But what does it mean for you being on this particular list?
I must say, and my family says this, I'm very hard on myself. I don't really celebrate achievements as much, but for the first time, when I got that email saying not only am I going to be on the list, that I'm on the cover, I was like, no, it's definitely happening, right? So I did go out and celebrate. I'm actually very proud of not just myself, because yes, I got on the list because of the journey, but I'm proud of my team because this is a team that left stable jobs to come into a startup, right? I'm proud of everything that we embody and everything that we stand for and chasing that African dream, right? And making it a reality, not just being adapters as Africans, but being creators. So
That's beautiful.
That recognition for me was everything at that very moment.
You're giving shape to what the African dream is,
100%.
defining what the African dream is. Wow, what a story. Well, a man with the love and belief in the future of web development in South Africa, and it seems he has clearly found his core passion on developing local and African markets for organizations' growth areas, design, development, video, and audio capacities is coming up. When we return, founder of Apex Media, Juan Pina, sits down with me, and we're seeing all the real talk moments that you've been sharing with us, so keep them coming. The stage is still yours right here on SABC3 and Real Talk. Welcome back. The technology space is ever growing, from the latest products to the latest gadgets. Well, Juan Pina is that man with his finger on the pulse of the digital sphere. And while he joins me now as we talk his Forbes Africa Under 30 for 2018 nod, he's built up his love for content over the years. And let's explore what this exactly has been about. Juan, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
What an honor, right?
Indeed. What a great list of people.
Yeah, to be mentioned amongst them. So you have a passion for technology, but your journey was one of starting in the music space. You loved music. You even tried to convince your parents to let you drop out of school.
I did
so that
manage
you can
to convince
pursue
them.
music.
Thankfully, I did manage to convince them.
Yeah.
I wanted to chase music because I felt I excelled when I was most engaged.
Right.
And luckily I got them to buy into the dream. Went and studied music and graduated with music and sound engineering. Managed to convince them once again, bend their rubber arms, so to speak, to building my recording studio at home.
Yes.
So I started the business initially as a recording studio. I wanted to help emerging artists realize their dreams. And found the going really tough because emerging artists unfortunately can't put bread on your table, and big artists don't need small studios. And realized really quickly that what we'd need to do to survive is pivot, find innovative solutions to tough business challenges or to tough challenges, and do that with a bit of empathy, which is where the content comes from.
And you slowly develop this passion for content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
We hear it all the time, the African narrative, and I don't think we've truly defined what that is, but I think we know that purpose-led, narrative-led organizations
do better, they certainly.
Absolutely. If you think of the big, all the really, really, really big guys.
Yeah.
It sort of stems from that space, and that's something that resonates with me.
What surprised me about your business journey is that you had an opportunity to merge with a big organization, and then in the process, you walked away from the deal. A lot of people would have grabbed that with both hands.
A double-edged sword, I guess.
Yeah.
In 2014, we had the opportunity to merge with an international firm, and we took it with both hands. And I still think it was a good deal. I mean, the staff that had started the business and grown the business with me, most of them are still at the merger.
Yeah.
But what made me want to leave is I felt really frustrated at the access that they had, the access to opportunities, their client list, which included Barack Obama, massive clients and massive opportunity, and how passive they were in pursuing that, or how passive they were in nurturing that into something meaningful, is something that I couldn't swallow anymore, and had to walk away. The one huge positive was that I found my current business partner at said company, and so it wasn't all bad. I mean, we've gone back to run Apex Media and even pivot the company a little bit to further expand our value, I guess.
So you talk a lot about passion, you talk about purpose, and that these are clearly central to why you do what you do. What have been some of the learnings along the way?
So I think they're simple ones, and I think they're universal ones. I think when you chase money, you're going to succeed and fail in equal amounts. And I think when you chase excellence, then you kind of have more of one outcome than the other. So we really try to put excellence at the core, or value at the core, or even the team we've assembled like they love the challenge, love solving the challenge. And as a business owner, that sometimes means just giving the team the tools they need to get on with it and not having to get involved, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess that's why passion and purpose and all these sorts of things are so important to me. It's just because without that, then all you're doing is muddling in what people want to innately do, which is achieve. No one comes to work wanting to fail the client or wanting to not build a great product or not wanting to innovate.
Yeah.
But often they don't know how, or they don't have the tools, or they don't have the time and the headspace or whatever. And I think that's where really great leadership is defined.
Exactly, exactly. But let's be honest, business is really tough. Because on the one hand, you have amazing successes. You have this kind of accolade, for instance.
Yeah.
You get the clients that you're looking for. But at the same time, on the other hand, you are straddling the disappointments that come with it. You're straddling the low moments that come with it. What have been some of those down moments?
I think they're never ending. So I think it takes a special kind of person to want to run a business in the very first place.
Yeah.
To administer it is something else. But to want to put yourself in a position where you're accountable to people and thinking about better ways of doing what's come before, I think that takes a special kind of person, and I think it's nurture, not nature. So a lot of people's entrepreneurs are born. I don't necessarily agree with that.
So what is it? Is it about someone who has that grit?
I think it's grit. I think it's resilience. I think it's if I wake up tomorrow and show up and, I'm present and engaged, tomorrow may be 1,000,000% better than it was today. And I think eternal optimism is good. You need some grounding forces, but I do think you need those characteristics to go anywhere.
Absolutely. You can't just give up when the going gets tough.
Yeah.
So what does this kind of affirmation mean then? What does this kind of nod mean, considering how tough this road can be? Again,
just looking at the caliber of the list is humbling to go, man, you counted among those people.
Yeah.
I think it's a great achievement to also be on the expanded list, the first edition of the expanded list. Props to the Forbes team. I think they've done a great job. And I'd like to treat it as a positive step. You're doing something right, keep heading in that direction, but it's not a destination. And I think it buys credibility. I think it opens some doors. I think it gives opportunities even like this one, which is fantastic.
Exactly.
But it's kind of going, so what? Now you've got the resource. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to mold it? And still being relentless in that pursuit of whatever it is you're trying to do.
Now, I want your views on technology and innovation on the continent. Where are the gaps? Because earlier we heard from Ribo about the fact that we look for things that have been developed elsewhere to believe that it's possible first. But as Africans, we actually have an immense opportunity to solve our own problems in our own unique way.
100%. I think we've got, out of I think it's 17 SDG goals, I think we've probably solved none of them. And I think each one is $1 trillion opportunity. So it's kind of going, instead of constantly retrofitting what the West is developing or looking at the Far East and going, wow, that would do this, and then plugging a hole. I think we need to look at innovation for Africa by Africa in a meaningful way. And starting with the challenges that seem too big to overcome. And even just taking the 30 people or the 90 people on the list and throwing them in a room for a couple of days, I think you'd achieve something special.
Absolutely. I can see you have a big heart, Sean. All the best with your journey.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Keep innovating and inspiring. Well, coming up, we have a UCT graduate who went straight into what he thought would be a promising management consulting career, only to realize that he wasn't getting the entrepreneurial fulfillment that he longed for, being headhunted by the top 4 management consulting firms as he had natural persuading abilities as a digital management consultant. After the break, 25-year-old Zugo Tisini lets us in on the journey of founding Legacy Technology Conferencing. And yes, we are seeing the real talk moments that you've been sharing with us. So keep them coming and we'll be right back. Born in the township of Zwide in Port Elizabeth, Zugo Tisani was naturally destined to lead. Being brought up in a family that valued education and with both parents being strong, self-made entrepreneurs. A passion for startups saw him founding Legacy Technologies, which emerged from noticing how much the South African entrepreneurial ecosystem needed maturing and how invisible African innovation was to the rest of the world. Well, Real Talk welcomes Zugo Tisani. Zugo, you promised me energy.
I got you.
You promised me energy.
Hi.
I want to take you back. So your parents were still studying.
Hi, Makulu in PE.
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
you had to be raised in those formative years by your grandmother.
Correct.
While they pursued their dreams. And then you could join them at
Yeah.
about, what, 7 or so?
Sure.
So how's that influenced you? The fact that
Yeah.
they stayed the course and went after their dreams?
Yeah, so when I grew up in PE for the first formative years of my life and moved down to Joburg, it was a huge adjustment, trying to figure out how I'm going to really mold in with the, the wide schools and so on and so forth. So it was a huge learning curve, and I think what I've taken from the experience is adaptation. I'm able to easily adapt into the situations where I need to be what I need to be for that moment. So it even comes down to the job that I had in management consulting. My degree was completely different in industrial psychology, but I got into digital because I'm easily able to adapt and learn fast and move into those spaces where you're able to understand where the value is and actually bring yourself to deliver that value for whoever you need to do it for.
Yeah.
Eventually, obviously, from the job thing, I've decided to now focus on how do I impact everybody else. I'm able to create value. I'm able to create change in the ways I wanted. So I use the same skills to do what I'm doing now.
Yes.
So the success for others is my success. That's what Legacy is about. When we're able to actually tell someone's story, get them money, get them partnerships or whatever it may be across the world, they're able to become successful, and we use those case studies to make us, their success is my success.
Exactly. So you found a place where you can make an impact.
Yeah.
So the beauty of what you do is that you did it with determination. You abandoned the consultancy job that you had, even though you had studied industrial psychology.
Right.
So you were quite active as well. Your leadership capabilities came up when you were at university.
Sure.
In the SRC. That gave you confidence, surely.
Yeah. So I was the president of the Entrepreneur Society and of the council, the Student Council of the Humanities Council. These kind of leadership qualities is really where I think I should say that they kind of made me the person I am today, to focus on how do you think about impacting others. I want to run for president actually one day. And these kind of focuses on looking at your community, how do you grow it, how do you nurture it, are the same things that came through. So I had a lot of practice and learning curves, and I just get a lot of fulfillment out of getting someone else a step ahead, and it feels that I've grown as well. So
there you are in the office, Zugo. You've got this job. You've been headhunted by one of the top 4 consultancy firms in South Africa. And then you hear about this conference in Tokyo, right? It's going to cost you money to go there. And initially you can't go.
Right.
But life does its thing. Life does its thing. You meet
Send it to the
someone.
universe.
Exactly. So you meet someone whose mother was an ambassador in Tokyo. And you left your job. You used your monthly salary to go and attend this conference. What a sacrifice.
It was.
What was driving you?
Again, something bigger, right? So, I mean, it was almost obvious that I needed to go when I got this opportunity. This girl says, no, you must know who I am. I'm like, no, I don't know who you are. It's like, my mother's the ambassador. She'll give you a call on Monday. So she, fair enough, gives me a call,
So you were going around telling everybody your story?
No, I wasn't. Oh, I just heard, I
Okay.
think it was just one of those party kind of stories. So I have the conversation with her and I say, I really want to go up, but I can't afford to go to this conference. I've been to another conference in LA where I really realized what people are doing in this tech space. People my age is disruptive. I really want to get involved and see what's going on. So, she connects me and I get a call, fair enough, from the ambassador. And Black people, so somehow, somewhere, we are related. So she's like, you're welcome to stay. So there it was, 11 a.m. I left the building. I got on the 3 o'clock flight to Hong Kong, correction. And now it spends half my salary for, a conference that, I didn't even have a ticket for the conference. So I even get there and I'm like, guys, I just flew from South Africa. Can you make a plan? And they're like, oh man, that's what entrepreneurship's about.
And they put you in the VIP section.
Yeah.
Wow, what a reward for the risk that you took.
Yeah.
But since then you haven't looked back. You tried to bring that conference to South Africa and you raised $1 million.
Yeah.
And it took a while to come, but you thought, wait, I still want to be a part of this excitement. So you
Yes.
then raised money to take a group of entrepreneurs from here to attend the conference in another country.
Yeah, let me be clear about what Legacy does. What we do is we take startup entrepreneurs, so SMMEs in the technology space, out into global platforms for us to tell the African story. For, I think, you know, being known as the dark continent, it's very difficult for them to grow their footprints globally. It's very difficult for them to attract a market. And there's very little resources that stimulate the startup ecosystem in South Africa. You know, you find 86% of all startups close within the first 18 months because there's no money going forward. So I needed to say, where am I going to find the resources for these guys to continue to thrive? So we go and take them over to these platforms where we think the resources are enough for them to leverage on and bring back to South Africa. So that's what we do. So we took 20 entrepreneurs last year to Lisbon, Portugal, sponsored by Standard Bank and a few other investors. And we did the same thing again last May, where we took 20 entrepreneurs to Paris for Viva Technology. And yeah, we're going to carry on growing. I mean, there's great case studies of what's been happening to the guys down there. But I think really we're starting to tell the African story, and people are starting to believe the capability and the actual level of where we are. I mean, people from Africa don't even believe their strength when they see their counterparts. But when they get there, they'd be like, hey, I'm actually, you know, somewhere similar or even above what's actually out there. So it's something where we're demonstrating what we have, and we're hoping it's starting to get consumed by the rest of the world, and that's what we object to.
Fantastic, and hence you've earned the name, the king of conferencing. But in a few years, in a number of years, when I see you on the ballot paper, why should I vote for you, Mr. Future President?
I think really when the presidential dream is just about how do we now start shaping entrepreneurs, the economy, and impacting society in a greater way. So, I mean, I've just been passionate about it, as you can see, from 22 to 23, and going forward, it will never change as an ambition. So that's why it's something that I've just been living for my whole life. Yeah.
Wow, keep that fire burning.
Great stuff.
Keep the fire
Great
burning
meeting
and
you.
keep things exciting.
Appreciate
Well, after the break, we're wrapping it up with two young South African females that have defined the term staying in one's lane. Actress Thuso Mbedu and Mapaseka Kwetle, who've both been listed. So perhaps you have we can have Nkotlo Fridays on a Monday. Why not? So after the break, that's what we'll be doing. Join us. Well, we were first introduced to her captivating talent on the drama series Saints and Sinners when she played the character of headstrong Boni Khumalo. And how could we forget the storm that she caused with her compelling role as Winnie, scoring the nomination for Best Performance by an Actress at the 2017 International Emmy Awards, the one and only Thuso Mbedu. And then a woman who played a TV character that goes without being unnoticed, conniving hustler Dintle Nyati, which we love to hate, portrayed by Bloemfontein-born Mapaseka Kwetle, who's undoubtedly owned and created a household name for herself. They're young, they are driven, and they have a purpose, and they're simply living their lives to the fullest. Let's welcome Thuso as well as Mapaseka. Congratulations for making it on the list, ladies. You look fantastic.
Thank you so much.
You look absolutely gorgeous. So where were you when you got the news?
I was breastfeeding at
You
home.
didn't drop the baby at home.
No, I didn't. And I saw on Instagram, Angela told me about it, but I didn't understand because she said, please send your, how much you earn a year. And I'm like, interview, what's happening?
What's happening?
And then when I saw the news on Instagram, they tagged me. I'm like, yes, I made it.
It took an Instagram post for you to believe.
To believe that, yes, I'm on the list.
Right.
Yes.
And Thuso?
I was actually on my way to a meeting. I didn't even know that I'd been nominated. I just got a call saying, okay, tomorrow morning at, 7 o'clock, please be at the photo shoot for the cover. I was like, what? Then it goes, Forbes. I'm like, yo. And I don't own business attire, so I had to try and work that out. But
Yes, because you guys represent the creatives industry. You are the young people under 30 in the creatives list. But we've got messages for the two of you. Just wanted to surprise you and hear the well wishes. Let's check them out.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Oh, where do I even begin with Mosaka? My friend, I just wanted to let you know that I am so proud of you. Being on Forbes under 30, it's a very big achievement and you should be proud of yourself as much as the whole world is. I'm so happy for you more than anything in this entire world. I just wanted to let you know as well that I love you and thank you so much for always being there for me whenever I need you, whenever I call, whenever I cry, whenever I smile, whenever I'm happy. You're the best thing that has ever happened to me. And I mean, meeting you has been the greatest gift God has ever given me. Lord knows, you know what, the world doesn't know, but Lord knows your prayers are the best thing ever to me as well. Guys, Mosaka is a prayer warrior, if you didn't know that about her, but she is a prayer warrior. She prays wherever she goes, whatever she does, before she starts, she'll pray. So, my friend, I just want to say thank you so much for being everything that you are and everything else that you are still gonna be to me. And congratulations, your hard work and your dedication and your passion has brought you to where you are right now. You are where you are right now because of everything that you've done for yourself. You're hardworking, you are strong, you are super woman. That's all you are, and everything and more. All the best. I'm wishing you so much more, and may God be with you throughout your journey, and I love you so much.
Congratulations! Friend, I am so proud of you. Your journey is so inspiring. Since I met you, I've witnessed it, and there's been trials along the way, and I'm just so proud of you and so proud to see what you've conquered, you know. Your tenacity, your drive is so inspiring. I pray that God continues to shine his light on you. Friend, like, the sky is not the limit, hey? There's more beyond that, and I know, Oguti, you're definitely gonna go beyond the stars, and I'm so proud of you, and I love you, and congratulations, my friend.
Like, how are you feeling? Does that affirm your place in the industry?
My goodness.
How are you feeling?
I am humbled and I'm happy. And to also have a friend in the industry to say that about you, because we're always competing. Get the audition, we're competing. And to have a friend in the industry say that about you, I am so happy and I'm so humbled.
Yeah, we thank Makgotso and Florence for the well wishes. But how much of this also has to do with you being comfortable in your own skin?
You
have to be.
You definitely have to be, because not going back to my own life story, but the fact that knowing who you are, having had to go against my family, and even with iDrive, the series that I wrote and I'm trying to get funding for, I had to say no to a couple of paying jobs because I believed in my dream, you know. And with the list, I think it's not just about the acting that got me onto the list, it's about then what am I doing to push myself beyond what we see as the normal actor, actress, artist in this industry. And for me, it's about creating work that in the future will employ a whole lot of people and tell different stories, you know, change the narrative in South Africa, because I could be lying. It's either the NBA or Hollywood that brings in the most amount of money in America. So there's a great potential for film and television in South Africa, but we're not seeing it. But yeah, it holds a great place in my heart, and I'm gonna fight for it. I'm gonna get it to where it needs to be. I've gathered a bunch of my friends who are experts in their own rights within the industry, lighting technician, editors, writers, actors, and we've all come together to form a company that will then, I will hire to be the cast and crew for my show, you know, and then we're gonna, you know,
For me, it's the same thing that she said. It's so important to be yourself and slay in your lane. Like this whole thing of checking, oh, Tuso is doing this now and I do it. No, we're not the same. And also for me being in the list, it's not just about me being an actress. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own coffee shop. I want this, I want more. And also, I always say to my friends that don't look at your friend, man. We're different. We bring different, even in a soapy world, we're different characters. So why must we compete? It's so important to be yourself, love yourself, appreciate yourself. And then you'll see the whole world will do that same thing.
And the world will affirm you,
yes,
just as we see with this list. You ladies inspire us, you know, with your love and your passion for this industry. I just love both of you, and congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And of course, Gail, we see you with your Mqoqo Fridays. Just how comfortable you are in your skin. So check it out if you haven't seen Mapaseka doing her thing on Kotlo Fridays, because she does show how comfortable she is in her skin. So in fact, that's what we're going to be playing out with. People haven't seen you dance, Tuso, or they don't know that side of you, and also those that haven't checked out on Kotlo Fridays, they'll be able to see you. Well, a big thank you to all of my Forbes Africa Under 30 guests this evening, and to you, of course, for tuning in. It's been an inspirational, empowering, but most importantly, it's been a real evening. I'm back again tomorrow evening right here on SABC 3, where the stage is yours. So from me, Azania Mosaka, and the Real Talk team, it's good night. Check out these two ladies.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains.
And welcome to Mukoko Friday. Hey, guys, it's a little Mukoko Friday. Okay, Mukoko Friday. Yes. Oh, hey now. It's up with that.